Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to discuss testing hypothesis. Okay, so what is a research hypothesis? So, while conducting a research, one of the most important consideration is the formulation of hypothesis. So, hypothesis is a hunch or assumption that you want to test for possible acceptance or rejection. So, in our study, before ta mag-conduct sa atong research or study, nanatay gi-assume nga may possible result. So, kato atong gi-assume nga possible result sa atong study, so mo to'y gitawag og hypothesis. So, hypothesis formulation makes it easier to go in a particular direction and get a conclusion. So, natay mga steps how to test the hypothesis. Okay, so I have here the steps in hypothesis testing. So, 5 steps. So, letter A, we need to state the null and the alternative hypothesis. Letter B, we need to state the level of significance. So, don't worry, the level of significance is given already in the problem. Letter C, we need to select and compute the appropriate test statistics. So, after gathering the numerical data, so mogamit na taog appropriate formula to solve the problem. Letter D, we need to compare the computed Z or T, so Z test and T test, and the critical value obtained from the level of significance. So, kaning value sa critical value naara ni siya sa Z table or T table ng mga value. So, ato rin i-compare if lesser or greater than ba siya. Okay? Ikaw man na ni siya sa computation. Okay, so the last, we have the decision. So, we need to reject the null hypothesis or ato ba i-accept ang alternative hypothesis. Okay, so 5 steps only. Okay, so I have here an example to apply our steps to the step nga ito na-discuss kanina. Okay, so example number 1. PGL Corporation is a company that produces RGC brand of laundry soap that uses a machine to package 425 grams per pack. So assume that the net weight is normally distributed with a population standard deviation of 8.5 grams. A researcher randomly selected 32 packs of RGC brand of laundry soap with net weight of 430 grams. Can he conclude that the packaging machine functioned properly? So the test significance or the level of significance is 0.05 level. So given nato ang level of significance which is 0.05. Okay, so here's the solution. So first, you need to analyze the problem. So unsay gihatag ug unsay gipangayo. Okay, so first, we need to write the given. So unsa kay gipanghatag sa problem. So here, 425 grams per pack. So mo man ang gigamit nga machine nga pagpack sa usa ka laundry soap. So this is already our population mean. So 425 grams. So population mean is 425. Then 430 is our sample mean here. Itong nikuha na sila og 32 ka pack, dinilahang gistudihan ang 32 ka pack kung tinuod ba nga tag 425 jud ang sud every pack. So nag-study sila. But silang study ni gawas nga ang ilahang sa 32 ka pack, so ang ilahang mean is 430 grams. So ilang timbang siguro na tagsa-tagsa if tinuod ba nga 425 grams per pack ba jud nga mahimo sa machine. But in their study, ni kuha sila 32 ka pack, ilang gitimbang siguro ni, then nakakuha ra sila og average nga 430 grams. So that is our sample mean. Then the standard deviation here is given. So the standard deviation is 8.5 grams. Then the number of the sample is 32 here, 32 packs. So, muna ito ang given tanan. Okay, so we have the first step. We need to state the null and the alternative hypothesis. Okay, first, the null hypothesis. So, null hypothesis is there is no significant difference. So, means to say, equal sila kay wala man kalahian. Ang pasabot sa null is walay kalahian. Means to say, equal. Then, the alternative, there is significant difference or so difference may nato ang gipangita ni nabay kalahian. So there is a significant difference. So means to say greater ba or lesser than sa mean. Kay na may kalahian. So means to say greater or lesser than. Okay, so if in any situation, look again to your problem. So this is the mean for the population, 425 grams. But pag mano-mano nila og timbang every pack, so ni come up man sila og average nga 430 which is the mean sa sample mean. So 425 and 430. So sa ilang study, ni come up man sila average nga 430 which is greater than sa population mean. So mano to ibutang sa atong alternative hypothesis which is the mean population is the mean is greater than 425 nga ilang study which is 430. So greater than siya. So sa null, again, so the null hypothesis walay kalahian means to say the mean is equal to 425 ra. But the alternative, there is significant difference. So naay kalahian based sa ilahang study which is greater than 425 ang average sa sabon nga ilang gitimbang og mano-mano. Okay, so step B, so we need to state the level of significance. Since the level of significance is given, which is 0.05 level. So here, so the level of significance equals to 0.05, then 1/3. So, kanus aman ta maka-determine if 1/3 ba ang level of significance or 2/3. Okay, so here's the difference. Okay, so if we say our null hypothesis is the mean is equal to 425 grams. So, muna itong example ganina. Then, our alternative hypothesis is the mean is greater than 425. So, we can use this with 1/3. 1/3. 1/3. So, kanus amat mo gamit if 2/3 na. So, here, an example. H or our null hypothesis, which mean is equal to 425. If our alternative hypothesis, so this is the difference, the mean is not equal to 425. If inani ng simple not equal, in the alternative hypothesis, you can use, so mara ninyong timanan, you can use 2/3. So here, if we have our alternative hypothesis, we have greater or lesser than 425, you can use 1/3. Greater than, here greater than, lesser than, or greater or equal to, or greater than, or the mean is greater than or equal to 425. So if inani ang symbol sa atong null alternative hypothesis rather, so we can use 1/3. If not equal sign in our alternative hypothesis, you can use 2/3. Okay, so I hope you can understand what is the difference and how to use the 1/3 and 2/3. Okay, so here's the step C. So select and compute the appropriate test statistics. So here in this situation, we're using z-test since our sample size is greater than 30, which is 32. Again, so since there is significant difference or there's no significant difference, so naay kalahian or wala. So if inani ang situation, difference ang atong gipangayo or atong dapat ma-solve, so the problem or the appropriate formula atong gamiton is z-test or t-test. So kanus aman ta mo gamit sa t-test or z-test. T-test if lesser than 30 ra ato ang sample size. Lesser than 30 ha. Again, t-test lesser than 30. Well, we can use z-test if greater than 30 na siya. Greater than 30. Okay, so here in this situation is our sample size is greater than 30. So z-test. So here's the formula for z-test. The mean, so sample mean, x ay bar sa babaw. So this is the sample mean minus the population mean over or divided by standard deviation over square root of n. So since we're na naman tayo given, so our mean sample mean is 430 here, 403 minus 425, which is our population mean, over our standard deviation is 8.5 over square root of our sample size, which is 32. Then simplify, you can use calculator to simplify. So 430 minus 425 is 5. Then to simplify this, so we come up 1.5026. So if decimal, you can use 4 decimal places para mas doon rata sa exact answer. Then to simplify, 5 over 1.5026 is equal to 3.33. So our z is equals to 3.33. Okay, so here's the step D. So we need to compare the computed z and the critical value obtained from the level of significance 0.051 Okay, so how to find the critical value of 0.051 Okay, so now naman tayo table ani gibasihan T table or Z table. So you can search through this link. So mugawas ani akatong T table. So if naana mo ang T table, so look for 0.051 Okay? Okay, so here's the T distribution table. So inani ang forma sa table. This is the critical value for level of significance. So since look at the table. So since our direction is 1/3, so 1/3, so 0.05 here. So 1/3, if 2/3, so ano mo mag-base ani mo ni ato ang level of significance 0.1, 0.05, 0.2 and so on. Since our direction is 1/3 only, so ari ta mag-base ani nga row. So 0.05 man. So here, this is the 0.05 1/3. Okay, so first column here. So since our size is 32, so we need to find the degrees of freedom here. So we just simply use the formula degrees of freedom equals n minus 1. Since our n or our sample size is 32, so we just 32 minus 1, so 31. So we just look for the degrees of freedom 31 here. So 31, then first column, which is 1.6955. Okay, so this is our critical value or tabular value, 1.6955. Okay, so here, so in this figure, ilang gibutang is z equals to 1.643 at 0.051 but exact value for or the tabular value or critical value for 0.051 is 1.6955. Okay, first, so we need to draw a normal curve distribution. So the center, so this is the mean, and the standard deviation is 1. So every distance here from 0, so 1. So 1, 2, 3, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So next, we need to draw the value of our tabular z, which is 1.6955. So 1.6955, okay, here, so positive. So ay nga positive na side since 1/3, so usara ka end sa normal curve atong drawingan in the positive side. So here, this side. So 1.6955, locate here. So here, ani nga part. So, mo ng 1.6955. So, ini nga part. Okay, so, if masod, ani nga part, so, reject ato ang null hypothesis. If masod ang ato ang computed t, ani nga part, so, ani nga part, here. So, in this part, ani nga, wala ma-shade na to, accept the edge. A or the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so since our computed t is equals to 3.3, so 3.3 is asa na to malukit ng 3.3, so ari dapit nga part. So means to say nasod siya ani nga shaded portion. So means to say reject ato ang null hypothesis. If ang atong computed t is nasod pa ni 1.3, 0 point ana nga part or ana nga situation, so i-accept na to ang alternative hypothesis. But in this situation, our computed t is 3.3, which is nasulod siya sa tabular t na to or z nga 1.65, 1.6955. So reject ato ang null hypothesis. Okay, so before we proceed to our last step, which is the decision, so here's the important note. So here, if computed z or t is greater than the tabular z or t, so our decision is reject null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. Otherwise, if computed z or t is lesser than the tabular z or t, accept null hypothesis or reject the alternative hypothesis. Okay? So here, in this situation, in this example, the computed z is 3.33 and the tabular z value at 0.05, 1/3 is 1.6955. It means computed z is greater than tabular z. So our decision is here reject, so greater. So our computed z is greater than tabular z or t. So our decision is reject the null hypothesis and accept our alternative. So means to say, okay, based sa atong decision which is reject null and accept alternative, so balik ta sa atong step A. So our hypothesis, so reject null. So reject na nato ning atong null hypothesis, which is the mean is equal to 425. Then accept, so kani nga alternative hypothesis ang atong dawaton. Since ato mang na-prove nga na-reject ang null, then accept the alternative hypothesis, which is the mean is greater than 425. So if you look at here in the problem, so dako jud ang 430. Sa sample size nga mean, which is 430, then the population size is 425. Okay? So here. Okay, so I have here example number 3. So a manufacturer of sports equipment has developed a new synthetic fishing line that he claims has a mean breaking strength of 8 kg with a standard deviation of 0.5 kg. Test the hypothesis that the mean is equal to 8 kg against the alternative that mean is not equal to 8 kg. So if a random sample of 50 lines is tested and found to have a mean breaking strength of 7.8 kg, so use a 0.01 level of significance. So sometimes percent ang ihatag aning level of significance. So this is 1% level of significance, that is 0.01. Kanina is 0.05, that is 5%. So 5% na sometimes ihatag sa problem is percent. So ay mo ka-confuse or kalibog if percent or decimal ang ihatag. So ano nga situation is decimal, so 0.01. If na percent pa ni siya, that is 1%. Okay, here's the solution. So first, we need to write the all givens in the given problem. So given the population mean here, which is 8 kg, and the sample mean here, the sample mean of 50 is 7.8 kg. Then the standard deviation is 0.5 kg, and our level of significance with it, which is 0.01, and the sample size n is equals to sample size is 50. Okay, so first step A, state the null and alternative hypothesis. Okay, so given, so our null is mean is equal to 8, then our alternative hypothesis is the mean is not equal to 8. So the level of significance given, which is 0.01. So total, since look at our alternative, nigamit na siya og symbol nga not equal or unequal. Okay, so total. Then step C, so select and compute test statistics. So significant difference manggihapon siya, so we can use Z or T test. But here in the sample is our n or our sample size is greater than 30, which is 50. So we can use z-test again. So the formula for z-test is sample mean minus the the population mean over the standard deviation over the square root of the sample size n. Then our value for our sample mean is 7.8 minus 8, which is our population mean, over our standard deviation 0.5, then our sample size, which is 50. Okay, so then simplify, you can use your calculator. Then 7.8 minus 8 is negative 0.2 over, to simplify this, we come up 0.0707. Again, you can use 4 decimal places. Then simplify, we come up negative 2.83. So our z value or computed z is negative 2.83. Okay, step D. So we need to compare the computed t and the tabular t value. Okay, first we need to locate the value for level of significance 0.01 2-tailed in the t table. Okay, so here's the table. Then two-tailed here. Two-tailed. So here, ito mangita, two-tailed. Then 0.01. So here, in the fourth column here. Then locate for our sample size is 50. So degrees of freedom formula n minus 1. 50 minus 1 is 49. So here, 49. Then the intersection for 0.01 and 49 is 2.6. Okay, first we need to draw a normal curve distribution. Then next, locate the tabular z value, which is 2.68. So 2.68 is naning apart. So aning apart. Then on the right side, we need to shade anong side. Then since this is two-tailed, so both side or both ends of the normal curve ang atong shadean. So 2.68 here, 2.68 here nga part. So we need shade this part. Then if ang atong computed t is masulod ani nga part here, ani nga part, ani shaded portion na to, means to say i-reject na to ang null hypothesis. Then if ang atong computed t is masulod ani nga part, aning wala ma-shade nga portion, means to say accept ato ang HA or our alternative hypothesis. So masulod ani reject null hypothesis. Well, and in this side also, so reject or null. Okay, so since our computed t value is 2.83, so 2.83, so 2.83, asa na ito malukit ng 2.83? So naani nga part, so means to say 2.83 other side, so means to say nasulod si ani nga shaded portion, means to say reject ato ang HO or null hypothesis. Okay, so our last step, we need to make our decision. So since the computed z is 2.83, which is greater than the tabular value, which is 2.65 in the level of significance of 0.01 two-tailed, so means to say our decision is reject null and accept alternative hypothesis. Okay, so in that case, so let's back to step 1, which is the hypothesis. So reject our HO or null hypothesis, which is the mean is equal to 8. Then accept, nga atong i-accept nga decision is ang alternative hypothesis, which is the mean is not equal to 8. So means to say, ang sabot ani, the level of strength of this fishing line is lesser than or lig-on pa or dili lig-on. So wa man nato gi-study, ang ato nang gi-studyhan is dili ba siya ang kalig-unon sa fishing line. So here not equal man ang atong result is not equal, so wata kibaw og mas lig-on ba siya or gabukon ba ang fishing line. Basta dili siya mo equal sa 8 ang iyahang strength of the fishing line. Okay?